Let's begin with Newcastle-Liverpool. What are you expecting from this game?
Well, it's an interesting one because Liverpool did a double over Newcastle last season.
Somehow,
yeah. I mean, one was a really late goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, Fabio Carvalho.
That was
stoppage time.
The early season one at Anfield. And then in the return game at Newcastle was the Pope getting sent off, which kind of killed it as a contest a bit. But Newcastle only lost 5 times last season, and 2 were to Liverpool. So, yeah, I think Newcastle will see this game as a chance to kind of right some of those wrongs in their eyes, I suppose. They'll think they, and make a bit of a statement, because also these two teams were 4th and 5th last season. They may be competing again for those sorts of positions. I think, obviously both would be looking higher. But yeah, I think it's a really interesting and evenly matched game. I think Liverpool would do very well to win there again. It's a really, really difficult place to go these days.
Caoimhe, a Newcastle side that dazzled us against Villa in the opening weekend and then was a little bit put back in its box by Man City. But that Newcastle attack against this Liverpool defence, what does that equal?
Worry, I think, for Liverpool fans at the minute, because it looks like there's a lot of holes in the boat, and sometimes they look like, against Bournemouth at the end, it looks like they were, holding on. Even though they had a 2-goal lead, it was just like that kind of repetitive chaos that Liverpool seemed to just absorb this season, just like they did last season. So, yeah, I think it is a worrying one with the high line and the defence not quite looking like settled. And Andy Robertson, you kind of just want him to go forward and have fun. He's more in the back three now, and obviously Trent sort of running around a little bit, and it doesn't look as settled as it should. And it looks really open, and Alisson's having to save everything again.
Apologies if everybody else is across this, but so Trent moving into midfield, does that mean that Robbo doesn't get forward anymore?
Yeah, so when he goes forward, it's sort of like a back three and then a box.
And a box midfield. And what you'd normally do is you'd have maybe a central defender that can play at fullback, like City would with Ake or Kanji. But Robertson's not really that player at all, so he's not that great at defending in a 3, and then it also curtails what we can do going forward. And I think everyone's focused on Liverpool's search for number 6 this summer, but they also really needed a left-sided central defender, and they haven't done that.
They looked at Van der Ven, who's gone to Spurs,
and they were on that. They're on the longest unbeaten run in the Premier League, which is mad because they keep nearly losing. And even that run at the end of last season, they won, I think, a record number of games by single goal margin. So it was a bit of a false, it could have gone the other way quite easily.
Yeah, had they got Champions League, I think it would have been like, okay. But actually, if you look back at those games, it was like on the edge.
And it was a bit of a salvage job, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it was desperately trying to get 4th, which even with that great run, they weren't able to do.
I mean, that stat you just mentioned there about them being the side that are most unbeaten 13 games. I read that and was just like, what? No way. Like, that can't be true, because I've watched Liverpool, too much to know that it doesn't feel right.
They can be deceptive. I remember Mourinho in his first season at United, they went on some mad unbeaten run, but they were still 5th or something. I mean, the thing with Liverpool, and apologies, Kiva, this may have been said loads of times, but it does feel a bit like they've gone full circle under Klopp, because I always find it amazing that when he joined, they were this kind of helter-skelter, you never know what you're going to get. Even when they got to Champions League final in 2018, they beat Roma, I think, 7-6 on aggregate, and it was kind of madness. And then they went to this winning machine. And now they see more that kind of early Klopp, the heavy metal football that he talked about. But it's to their detriment a bit, because obviously they were best when they had that control.
It's like a heavy metal, but like a tribute act to the heavy metal.
Yeah.
Almost.
Their best days are behind them, possibly. I mean, I do think that the evolution that they're going on, you're always going away from Salah, Mane, Firmino, was not going to be easy. I think maybe some people underestimated how good those 3 were. Almost generational they were. The idea that you can just kind of ease into another front 3 that easily, I think that will take time if they ever get there, because I do think the level that those 3 played at was incredible over a long period of time.
It's like a hangover almost, isn't it?
Yeah.
But then you've got a player like Luis Diaz, who he's just picked up.
Who does look great? Yeah.
Probably looks Liverpool's best player so far this season for me.
Hello there. If you've enjoyed this video, why not subscribe to this channel? The Totally Football Show podcast is available 3 times a week, bringing you all the football news you could reasonably be expected to care about. We've got views, we've got stats, we've got analysis, we've got some of the best football writers around,
and the whole thing is absolutely free. So have a listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or all the usual places by clicking on the link below.